were many attempts of FFF Germany to discredit everything that FFF International were doing. And eventually FFF Germany went out and publicly stated that they distanced themselves from FFF International and me for saying that bombing people is bad, apartheid and occupations are bad, violating the most basic human rights, committing war crimes is bad, no matter which country you are. And since then, I have basically cut off all my contact to all activists within FFF Germany. What I experience is nothing compared to what POC, people and activists, especially with Palestinian backgrounds, are experiencing. It is about racism and about wanting to uphold a status quo where you are prioritizing being liked by the mainstream public rather than doing what is actually right or standing up to your values. Then you become a villain in their eyes because you're not saying what they want you to say. In my case, I was seen as a small girl who was saying that, oh, we should save the planet. Like, anyone can get behind that we should save the planet. And then when we're talking about decolonization, when we are putting that in practice, and then you are actually challenging the status quo by naming the problems like capitalism, white supremacy, patriarchy, and then you are not likable or comfortable anymore. Since then, of course, there has been a very clear silencing. When they invited me to events, they would say, okay, you can talk, but you cannot talk about politics. First of all, how do they expect me to respect that? Second of all, what mindset do you have if you think that the climate crisis is not political, basic human rights are too political and too controversial, we don't want to risk a shitstorm. In the case of activists within FFF Germany, if you as an activist are an activist but too scared of saying things that will make people uncomfortable, then why are you an activist in the first place? If you claim to care about the climate crisis but only care about the future of white children, because that's being the dominant narrative here, then you should not be able to call yourself a climate activist, because if that's not pure racism, then I don't know what is. If we cannot recognize and sympathize with all the countless of colonized and oppressed people today, then there's no justice to be talked about. I also want to address that recently we have seen some people speaking out. What is it they call it? The human suffering in Gaza, or that's still moving within the frame of what is acceptable. And now it is acceptable to say this. Okay, then I'll say this. That's not how you should navigate your morality.